I want to introduce Steve Denny. He is a business advisor and coach who teaches business owners how to grow the value of their business and realize that value when they retire. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Steve Denny.
Honored to be here. Lovely presentation. Honored to follow Nadine. Nadine's a new partner. That was first presentation from Nadine, and Nadine, you knocked it out of the park. That's it. All right, we're going to talk about who is going to follow you. Okay? A little bit unusual. When we think about the live section, E3 is all about committing to helping business owners succeed and live their dreams. We talk about how to run your business more efficiently and effectively, how to grow your business more efficiently and effectively and at a higher level of velocity if that's what you so desire, and then how to live a more fulfilling life. So my talk today is a little bit about succession planning, but it really is how to live into the next phase of your life beyond your business ownership. Okay, so I want to help you string this together. And I also want to preface this by saying everything you're going to see here today, I learned at E4E in terms of using AI to generate my presentation. Okay, so I went back and watched some of the instructions that we've been given here, and like all of you in this room, I'm very time pressed and wanted to see if I could accelerate building a presentation. It takes time and effort to build a presentation, and I will confess up front that there are some flaws in this presentation. I tried to get AI to fix some of those flaws. It was going to take much longer than I expected. I had to shut this time off and move on. But I hope the message lands well with you as we move forward. This slide is intentional. You will see a couple of things. Business owner, in this regard, is holding a golden baton. That's their business, right? We all, as business owners, when we created these businesses or stepped in and began to steward these businesses, we took a full, not only actual ownership, but we took emotional ownership of that business as well, right? It is kind of our golden chalice, if you will. And the three people in the background is also intentional. As we talk about understanding the importance of succession, it always involves three people. So the first thing I want you to remember is when you think about succession in your business, it's going to happen to one of three people. I'm going to define those for you a little bit more. But I want to start by just confirming to you that the research is in and conclusive and definitive. 100% of us are going to exit our business. 100% of us.
What?
We can do it with intention, or we can do it without intention. The choice is yours. And as Nadine reminded us, we are response able. We are able to choose the response that we make in that regard. So let me talk a little bit about it first up. So how many of you have a plan? How many of you thought about leaving my business? Yeah, at least a few, right? I know Mark's plan because I see his successor, he started training her at 2 years old. She's in. And she's now becoming one of your chief salespeople for the Mark. That's an interesting thing because in North America, 90% of businesses are family businesses or have the potential to be family businesses. I'll use Mark as an example. Mark owns and operates his business, and he's got many people in his business that are not family members, but he has a clear plan of making this a family business and handing it to the next generation. That makes sense?
Yes.
When you think about that, again, 90% of businesses in North America are family businesses or have the same potential to become a family business by handing it to the next generation. What percentage of those businesses actually pass on to the next generation?
30%.
It's actually a little higher. Second generation, about half.
Yeah.
What percentage of those businesses pass on to a third generation?
15.
About half again, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%, 20 to 25%. How many businesses make it to the fourth generation?
12.
5,
12.
2,
12.394.
think low single digits.
1%?
It's like, it's closer to 3%, 2 and 3%. Yeah, very rare. Very rare. I always say, first generation starts it, second generation tends to grow it, third generation spends it all. Yeah, so it's significant, we don't talk about it. But it is a process, and the research also says that, and there's a lot of research on this, and there's been a lot of more recent research because the baby boomer generation is now retiring. It's what we call the silver tsunami inside the industry, right? Less than 1 in 4 business owners consciously think of succession. I can tell you in 20 years of doing this, I've only met a few that consciously thought of succession before they came to me. And understand that in my business, I'm kind of the last resort. And you'll understand that in a few minutes as I talk about the key piece of the people involved with this. But it is a process, right? And this is one of those things, AI, I gave it the process, but for some reason, AI has the ability to blend maybe some kind of a Far Eastern language with spelling, so I invite you to be open-minded. The one thing I can tell you conclusively is the most important thing to you will be thinking about legacy, okay? Most people think about, is my business going to be prosperous enough that it can fund my retirement? But I will tell you, at the end of the day, the most important thing, whether or not your business funds your retirement, the most important thing for you will be, what is my legacy? What was the legacy of this business entity, this person that I created? Right? That is the thing that will define you once you leave your business. And the statistics will say that most business owners that leave their business are unhappy in retirement. Harvard did a very large study, and they found that over 80% of business owners that sold their business were unhappy. I will tell you that I am firmly convinced that's because, if you think back a minute, most business owners never plan their exit. Less than 1 in 4 really take the time to plan it. So it just becomes a transaction at the end. And as you think about transactions, right, you got maybe a 50-50 shot of having a positive transaction. Okay? So legacy is the most important thing. And I promise you that after you leave your business, no matter, what kind of financial situation your business may have left you in, the one thought that will always be in your mind is, was that transaction good? Was it bad? Right? And you'll always be thinking about if that business is still there, is that business flourishing? Is it doing it as good as I want it to do? So this is the thing that 9 out of 10 business owners that I talk with never put any thought into when they come see me. And remember, I'm the person of last resort, right? Like all other advisors in my field. Okay. Does that make sense? Do you think about that? Right? The people that are happiest that leave their business are the ones that see that business went on to do something at a higher level than they were able to take it to. We always want the best for our children, right? It's kind of the same thing with your business. Your business becomes your child. And you always want to see that business in the rearview mirror, with pride and see that it did begin to attain the capabilities that you knew it always had within it. So it's the most important factor, right? And one most often overlooked. How does that land with you guys? Ever thought about that before?
Not in that perspective, no.
And Les?
So, I'm one of those folks, we were just talking about this, I'm basically a one-man operation. I have some assistants and some help with professional colleagues that I draw on. And, I'm past retirement age, and I've wondered about this whole issue of legacy, because really what I've been doing is, I'm doing it because I enjoy the work, and because it's nice to have the extra income and to fund my retirement, as you say. So I don't really have somebody else to pass it on to. Don't have any children who are interested in picking up this business, or any colleagues that I've worked with who are interested in carrying it forward. But I do believe, and you really made me think of this, is that there is a legacy in terms of what I've left with the people that I've worked with, the people that I've helped, the people that I've coached, the people that are going to carry forward the mindset, the heart set, the processes, the systems, and the tools that really create the kind of organizations that I like to say it's my mission, is to create a high-performance culture of trust where people love to work and customers love doing business. If I can leave that as a legacy with anybody that I've worked with, then I feel good about that. So thank you for kind of opening me up to thinking about legacy that way, instead of just looking at retirement.
And the world is changing, so you have created now what has become a much more valuable property than it was even 5 years ago, and that is what's referred to as intellectual property, right? So you may have systems, processes, tools, which I know you do, because I'm very familiar with some of those, right? All of those things now can become things of value in the marketplace that can be passed on. So, a lot of people close their businesses. A lot of baby boomers right now, and we see this pretty regularly. They say, well, I'm a solopreneur, or it's just me and my family, and nobody wants to run this pizza shop anymore. So we're just going to close the doors, right? But there is a lot more there, typically, and a lot more value there than a lot of people think in that regard as well. So a lot of people would prefer to leave a legacy, and now we have many more options in that regard. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future. It's opening up more of this in the future. So I want to talk about the people real quick. So I told you, how many people are there that you need to meet? Three. You wonder who those are?
Yes.
Lawyers.
The lawyers?
The accountants.
And it's a lesson.
No. The first one is somebody that works with you. Okay, so 2/3 of transactions happen between the first two people. Somebody that works with you. This might be an employee, it might be a venture partner, it might be a supplier, it may even be a customer, right? Somebody that works with you that has received a lot of value from you over time may have an interest in taking what you have built to another level. So typically, the first person you want to consider as you're thinking about, who do I want to follow me in my business? The first person you want to consider is, who do you work with? Who do you work with, right? The second person is, who do I know? A lot of people in the family business think about family members, right? Now let's go through the list. Who in my family do I think might be capable of doing this in or out of the business, right? But again, think broader. Think of your network as a whole. Who do I know that might have some interest in my business, right? Gone to dinner with these couple for a long time. We've been lived in the same neighborhood, and Joe's always talked about my business. Maybe you would have an interest, right? Who do you know? The third person is somebody that you don't know. And that's when you come to a trusted advisor like me to say, help me find somebody that I don't know. What do you think I do the first time people come to me? Good to know. Actually, start them back at the first thing.
Who do you know?
Who works for you? Who works with you? Who do you know? Let's go through that whole list together, right? Because that is generally, the odds of success are a little higher. Actually, the odds of success for an internal key, what's called a key man buying your business, is so good that banks will even finance that transaction at 100% generally. The odds are in your favor of success. You have a key person in your business, right? So three key people are Somebody who works with me, somebody I know, or somebody that I don't know. And typically, if it gets to the point where it's somebody you don't know, that's when they tend to start looking for folks like me in the marketplace. All right. Mark's given me the signal. I want to tell you it's a process. This is kind of cool. Believe it or not, I gave it relatively, you can see a lot of scribbles. So it had a lot of material to work with, but it turned up a lot of stuff. But it is a process. And I want to walk you through real quick. Set your goals, right? Put relationships first. Relationships will carry you even beyond your business. So if you want somebody to follow you in your business and you want your business to continue after you're there, think about the relationship side of it first. Relationships matter more than the logistics of the business operations, right? Get the right person. Remember, no transition is perfect. I've yet to see a perfect transition. There's a lot of books about transition, talk about the process of transition, but I've never seen one that operated perfectly. So don't let yourself fall into the trap of not moving because you're afraid of not being able to do it perfectly. Move, right? Most important thing is design your succession with intention. So really put some thought into it and really think about, the most important thing is start with the who, and then begin to think about the process. Do they know the business? Do they know the customers? Do they know the products and service? Do they know the markets that we're in? Do they know the business, basic blocking and tackling, the finances, and legal aspect, and all the other things that we talked about here from month to month? And if they don't, remember, those are all skills that can be attained. You can teach them those skills. Those are teachable skills. And this room is filled with people that are willing to help you teach some of those skills, right? Map the journey out. It is a journey. Don't just hand the keys to somebody. You increase their chance of failure if you don't give them a roadmap to move on. And then finally, you do all these things, I guarantee you will thrive into your future. It becomes the day one of the rest of your life, right? And you want to step into that with intention and with promise and with confidence. And you can do that if you spend some time thinking about who's going to follow you in your business. All right. Any questions you guys might have? Yes, sir.
So when someone comes to you and says, Steve, sell my business, and you send them back to the first step, how often do you uncover somebody they might have missed in person one or two?
At least a third of the time.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of times we prejudge people. I'm as guilty of this as my clients, right? We think about somebody, oh, they're never capable. I'd love to have so-and-so buy my business. They don't have any money. They're not capable of doing that, right? I would say money is the last thing we worry about. Money will always present itself for the right person and the right opportunity. Yes.
I found this entirely fascinating. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm at what I consider roughly the halfway point with respect to my practice. So if I retire after 30 years of practice, I'm exactly halfway there. I also messed up a succession plan in my family's business. My family was in the retail music business, and I went through business school and was queued up to do that because my younger sister, who's brilliant, but wanted nothing to do with the business. Long story short, I stepped into functional medicine and totally messed up there.
Yeah.
It has a happy end, though.
Yep.
So, but everything you said, I watched transpire in one way or another when I screwed up the succession plan by going, hey, I am going to chiropractic school. I'm going to go this route. It was actually a key stakeholder. It was music retail, and so it was the Fender music instrument rep, the longest running employee at Fender at that point, who bridged the gap and said, I think there's a buyer for your company since your kids screwed everything up. And watched this all play out in a way that really seemed like a God thing. Like the steps were just ordered, but fascinating. And I'll just say it was entirely true that the relation, and even some of the other things that were considered, and Bill Pernot did actually consult on some of this, some of the internal, managers were considering buying. That didn't end up happening, but there was funding there when nobody expected it to be because of what you said. I mean, this is, so more than anything, a comment on how fascinating this is, and then also how I'm looking at it so that I can plan for mine. So thank you for this.
Every business, even a sole proprietor, has something of legacy there. You know, and when you begin to think about it that way, it's amazing the doors that will begin to open for you. Yes, sir.
One of my colleagues, a guy by the name of Scott Hunsaker, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he speaks on this stage circuit about this very topic, transitioning your business, exiting your business, creating a legacy, and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that people really underestimate is the time that it takes to do it right, do it well. And Scott likes to tell folks, if you really want to plan it, do it well, you should start about 5 years before you think you're good with that.
He's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. Put yourself in the highest odds of success, and the more time you have, the more successful you will be. My best story is a couple that walked in and said, hey, we're interested in selling our business. They had this neat little business and said, great. You know, we asked a lot of questions about what's their expectation. And we said, well, you know, when would you like to sell it? And they said, well, what's today, the 12th? We'd love to be out by the end of the month. That begins to inform for us, you know, the path that is in front of us with this particular client. So.
Whoops.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thanks for your time. Here's Henry Lee.